from the garden and welcome to today's video in which we're going to dismantle our hugel bed. It's also my husband's birthday today, so to all the people who are commenting, will you marry me on videos? This is what being married to me looks like, so maybe you should reconsider. I did bake him a cake, so you know, pros and cons. But this is not what today's video is about, it's about the hugel bed. And first I want to tell you what a hugel bed is, why we made one, and why we're dismantling it today. Hugel is from the German word hugel, which means a hill, and it's basically an extreme kind of raised bed, which is constructed out of large woody materials such as logs and large branches, which are then covered with a layer of topsoil. The wood will decompose slowly over time, adding lots of organic matter to your soil. But the hugel culture can have other benefits as well. For example, the decomposing wood acts as a sponge, holding moisture, which should, in theory, mean that you don't have to water hugel beds as much, or at all. Hugel beds have become something of a fashion within permaculture. They've been popularized by the Austrian permaculture farmer Sepp Holzer, and I think sometimes they're even constructed or put in gardens where they don't make a lot of sense, but there are definitely situations where I think they are a good solution to some problems. For example, when you have a lot of woody material that you need to do something with, this is a good way to use it and compost it over time. And that's also the situation that we were in when we bought our plot in 2015. There were some old, diseased or dead, even dead trees and large bushes that we had to do something with, and those we used to construct our bed. And also we were making a pond, so we were when we excavated the pond, we had a lot of soil, topsoil, that we could use to cover the bed with. Furthermore, the hugel bed helped us to create a favorable microclimate for the two most frost-sensitive trees that we grow, which is a peach and an apricot, which flower very early and therefore are sensitive to early spring frosts or spring frosts. And the hugel bed is to the northeast of the trees, protecting them from the cold northeasterly winds, which was especially important when the trees were small. We have planted the bed with lots of perennial herbaceous plants, but also some small bushes, such as I have a currant here and even a small apple tree, and we have some goji berries. The herbaceous plants did well from the beginning because they had enough soil to start with, but some of the bushes and trees struggled in the beginning because the depth of the topsoil was not very deep. The depth was not deep. And of course it takes time before the wood will decompose sufficiently for the trees to be able to root into it. Also, woody materials are carbon-rich materials, so there can be a lack and they use up nitrogen through their decomposition. So there can be a temporary nitrogen deficiency within the hugel bed. So overall, I would say that in our case, the hugel culture does work and would probably work even better over time as the wood continues to decompose. So why did we decide to deconstruct it? I have talked several times about how important it is to get rid of perennial weeds before you start planting up the herbaceous layer of a forest garden. And in this case, to start with, there were no perennial weeds, but over time the hugel bed got invaded by couch grass, and once you got perennial weeds mixed with herbaceous perennial plants, it's really impossible to get rid of them. So what we're going to do today is move some of the large plants, like especially the apple tree and some of the bushes, and maybe even some of the herbaceous plants, being careful not to take with us any of the roots of the couch grass, because then we would be perpetuating the problem. And then we're going to spread the mass this way, and then it will be covered with cardboard to get rid of to kill the perennial weeds during the coming season. And this will be the area where we will be growing winter squash this year. Fortunately, I don't have to do all of this alone. I got a crew consisting out of my son Sebastian. Sebastian, make a bow or something. And Romeo, who is, well, we call him our honorary godson, and he's been helping in the garden for several years now. So how excited are you for today?
So excited.
On a scale of 10.
On a scale of 10.
Sebastian does not enjoy gardening.
It's not my passion.
Sebas, out of 10?
Out of... I'm
Honestly, you can be honest.
7.5 now.
Wow, that's better than I thought. Romeo?
Solid 9.
There's of course also my husband who is behind the camera, but maybe we will put him in the frame some. He has not been on the channel yet. There's one more thing I want to say. I am very curious about what we will find when we start dismantling the bed. I want to see how much the wood has decomposed, because it has been the bed has been created in 2016 in June, which is about 3.5 years ago, a little more than that. So I'm curious to see how much the wood has decomposed over that time. And also there could be some unpleasant surprises, because we think we have had some rats. So what we also could find possibly is a rat's nest. So that would not be that exciting. So how's the cake?
It is excellent.
Romeo, it's a vegan cake. What do you think?
I like it, but...
Half a kilo of chocolate? Sebas?
No.
So we've just had cake to celebrate my husband's birthday, and here's the progress that we've made. I have replanted the currant and the apple tree, and the boys have been chipping away, resting. No, they've been working very hard.
And they're about our fun chipping away.
And on the HUGELBED, and it's interesting to see how much the wood inside of it has really already deteriorated or composted. So I think that our plan, like spreading it out, you can show that, like we're spreading it over here into a somewhat more even layer, hopefully, and then later we will cover this with cardboard so that we can grow our winter squash here. But the winter squash should do really good, really well this year, because this is basically really good compost. One more thing I would like to show you. We had some strawberry plants in the HUGELBED as well, and I don't remember what variety it was, but it was some kind of sort of like good culinary variety. And I've taken out the plants and I'm going to plant them in the greenhouse for hopefully a very early harvest. That's a tip by my friends Alexandra and Jelena from Haal meer uit je tuin. Haal meer uit je tuin. I will link their channel below for my Dutch and Belgian friends. And they get a very early harvest of strawberries in the greenhouse by planting some plants at the end of the winter. So that's what I'm trying to achieve here as well. It's been about 3 hours since the intro of the video, and I'm standing roughly in the same spot, but you can probably see that it's quite a bit lower. We've done, well, mostly the guys have done quite a good job, and the bed is almost gone. There were some larger pieces of wood that were not quite rotten, so these will continue to rot behind me. But for now, we're done, and we're going home to make homemade pizza that Remco asked for his birthday. But like, what is your opinion now, out of 10, Bas? How was this for Dad's birthday?
6.5.
Romeo?
About 8.
Both went down. Okay, thanks. But of course it was Remco's birthday, so what's your rating?
I think it's a 9 out of 10, a pandemic-proof birthday that I never, well, thought I would have.
Do you want to do the outro?
Yeah, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and hope to see you again soon. Happy gardening!